The Golem Project. Overview of the Golem Project Grand Vision and Core Features. Golem is the first truly decentralized supercomputer, creating a global market for computing power, combined with flexible tools to aid developers in securely distributing and monetizing their software. Golem altogether changes the way compute tasks are organized and executed, by powering decentralized microservices and asynchronous task execution. Golem is set to become a key building block for future internet service providers and software development, and by substantially lowering the price of compute. Golem as an ecosystem. Golem's business case boils down to the fact that, due to relatively recent technological advances, the market for computing resources can be organized according to entirely new principles. In contrast, the compute market today is dominated by heavyweight players such as Amazon, Google, Microsoft and IBM, who leverage their market power and assets to ensure hefty margins, resulting in inefficiently priced compute services. Luckily, the market is not doomed to function this way forever. With Golem, the supply of computing resources is based on contributions of individual and professional providers, combined with an array of dedicated software solutions via Golem's application registry, itself operating on a single and competitive market with nearly complete information market. Scaling the compute market enabled by Golem requires onboarding three groups: suppliers of computing resources, providers, task creators, requestors, who submit their tasks to be computed by the network, and of course, software developers. These three groups comprise Golem's unique, interdependent ecosystem. Group Golem features incentive to participate. Requestors. Golem offers tools to execute compute-intensive tasks. Requestors get access to affordable and scalable solutions, which combine hardware and software. Providers. Golem combines and utilizes almost any kind of existing computing hardware. Hardware providers get paid for renting out their hardware. Software developers. Golem is a flexible platform to deploy and monetize software. Software developers use Golem as a distribution channel, associated with access to hardware. Supply of infrastructure. The supply of computing power to the network comes from providers. This could be anyone, from an individual renting out idle CPU cycles of a gaming PC, to a large data center contributing their entire capacity. Providers have the incentive to join Golem because they receive payments from requesters for the completed tasks. Of course, Golem's user interface will be easy to use, giving providers a clear way to set prices and decide what fraction of their own idle resources they are willing to rent out. Demand for computing resources. In order to reward providers for contributing their resources, Golem needs to attract requesters seeking additional computing resources. The market Golem creates will be highly competitive due to nearly complete information and the ease of deploying tasks on any hardware. This will not only make using Golem simple, which will attract requesters. Highly competitive setup will also increase efficiency of the market, very likely resulting in much more comprehensive and advantageous pricing compared to the existing cloud computing platforms. One important feature is that Golem's marketplace will enable requesters to become providers, because most of them will need additional resources only occasionally. They will be able to rent out their own hardware and earn extra fees. In addition, financial aspects are not going to be the sole incentive to use Golem. One of its key features will be the availability of diverse software running on the Golem network, accessible from the application registry. Software and microservices. Although some initial use cases, such as CGI rendering, are going to be developed and implemented by the Golem team, it is essential to engage other software developers to develop their own ideas for Golem applications. The number and quality of such applications is one of the key factors in Golem's future success. For this reason, the application registry and transaction framework are among the most important features of the entire ecosystem, and will be front and central to the development process. Once introduced, they will provide developers with flexible and efficient tools to deploy, distribute, and monetize software running on Golem. This is going to be a perfect solution for microservices and some of the forthcoming decentralized applications, DApps, but could also become an interesting way to distribute existing proprietary and open-source software. The first use case, CGI rendering. Golem alpha release. CGI rendering using Blender. It is public. Follow the link to test Golem. CGI rendering is the first and very illustrative case of real Golem usage. Rather than using costly cloud-based services or waiting ages for one's own machine to complete the task, CGI artists can now rent compute resources from other users to render an image quickly. The payment from a requester, in this case, a CGI artist, is sent directly to providers who made their resources available. In addition, when the artist's machine is idle, it can itself accept tasks from other users. Long-term vision. Golem as a building block of Web 3.0. We believe the future internet will be a truly decentralized network, enabling users to securely and directly exchange content, without sharing it with corporations or other middlemen. Accordingly, Golem will be useful not only to compute specific tasks, but also to build grant machines in order to perform operations within a self-organizing network. Of course, this will require the simultaneous development of other technologies, many of which have gained significant traction in recent years. Better data sharing technologies are necessary, but taking into account the ongoing development of IPFS, Filecoin and Swarm, the appropriate solutions seem to be within reach. Eventually, the Ethereum network will become more scalable, more efficient, and include a fully functional network of micropayment channels. Once these technologies become available, it is easy to imagine Golem primarily as a platform for microservices, allowing users to run both small, for example a note-taking app, and large, for example a streaming service, applications in a completely decentralized way. Although ambitious, this vision seems to be the ultimate argument for Golem's long-term potential. Golem Network Token, GNT. The Golem Network Token, GNT, account is a core component of Golem and is designed to ensure flexibility and control over the future evolution of the project. GNT is created during the crowdfunding period, described in this white paper, and, following the first major release of Golem, GNT will be attributed a variety of functions in the Golem network: payments from requestors to providers for resource usage, and remuneration for software developers is going to be exclusively conducted in GNT once the application registry and transaction framework are implemented. GNT will be necessary for other interactions with Golem, such as submitting deposits by providers and software developers or participation in the process of software validation and certification, as described in the application registry section. The general conditions for using GNT will be set in the transaction framework, but specific parameters of these interactions will be possible to define within each software integration. The supply of GNT will be limited to the pool of tokens created during crowdfunding period. Creation of the GNT and initial GNT account functionalities. The Golem Network Token is a token on Ethereum platform. Its design follows widely adopted token implementation standards. This makes it easy to manage using existing solutions including Ethereum Wallet. Maximum number of tokens created during crowdfunding period. Total 100,000,000, 100%. Crowdfunding participants 820,000,000, 82%. Golem Team 60,000,000, 6%. Golem Factory GmbH 120,000,000, 12%. Sending 1 Ether to the GNT account will create 1000 GNT. No token creation, minting or mining after the crowdfunding period. Tokens will be transferable once the crowdfunding is successfully completed. Go to the crowdfunding section to learn the details and see how to support the Golem project via crowdfunding. Application Registry. The application registry is an Ethereum smart contract, to which anyone can publish their own applications that are ready to run on Golem network. The goal of the application registry is to give developers a way to publish their integrations and reach out to users in a decentralized manner, give requesters a place to look for specific tools fitting their needs, give providers full control over the code they run because of the security concerns. Since the Golem network is fully decentralized, we also want the application registry to be driven by the community. Golem allows requesters to execute the code of an application on someone else's computer. This code is sandboxed and executed with the minimal required privileges, but software bugs are everywhere, and once in a while people featuring sandboxes manage to execute malicious code on a host machine, and sometimes even take it over. That's why we can't rely only on sandboxing. We could try to automatically evaluate whether or not the code is safe, but this is literally impossible. Halting problem. The process of code review and validation cannot be fully automated and left to the autonomous network. On the other hand, it is impossible to assume that no one will ever publish malicious software to run on top of Golem network. We solve these problems by splitting application registry users into 3 categories: authors, validators and providers. Authors publish applications, Validators review and certify applications as safe and trustworthy by adding them to their own whitelist. Validators may also mark applications as malicious by adding them to their own blacklists. Providers are also given the right to choose whom to trust by selecting validators whose lists are used by the particular instance of Golem running on their nodes. Apart from that, providers may maintain their own whitelists or blacklists. This gives each provider a lot of flexibility in deciding exactly what software to run, and what amount of work to put into software curation. What is more, this system does not exclude any party, and there is always room for new validators to emerge. By default, Golem runs using a whitelist of trusted applications. Since an empty whitelist is a problem for someone just trying Golem out for the first time, we will add a number of verified entries to the whitelist as a part of the initial distribution. A provider can take advantage of this mechanism, managing her own whitelist, or simply using whitelists of validators she trusts. On the other hand, a provider running a computing farm may wish to rely entirely on blacklists. This is an option tailored for administrators of dedicated machines, who want to maximize their profits and who are willing to ride the bleeding edge. In this scenario, a blacklist is used to banish any known troublemaking applications. Again, the provider can maintain her own blacklist, or use the blacklists of validators she trusts. Transaction framework. When creating something new and exciting, it's hard if not impossible to predict all the opportunities which the new artifact will suddenly make possible. Golem is a generalized global supercomputer, and as such, it will no doubt find its niche with vastly varied applications. They might need very diverse remuneration models. We are not able to design a one-size-fits-all payment system for Golem, nor will we attempt to force one upon application authors. When a developer integrates her application with Golem, she has the freedom to decide which transaction model she implements, as long as it is compliant with Golem's transaction framework. The transaction framework will take the form of a set of requirements to follow. Basic requirements may include entry in the application registry, use of open source and/or deterministic environment, such as EVM, community approval or rating of transaction model, use of GNT for remunerating software and resource providers. We are building the transaction framework on top of Ethereum. Ethereum gives us expressive power, which is much needed when implementing advanced, trustless schemes. Example transaction framework components, diverse payout schemes such as nanopayments, batching off-chain payment channels, custom receipts, payment to software developer per unit use of software, per node, per hour, etc. In the future, this might evolve into community-reviewed template code to be used in the implementation of custom transaction models. It is also possible to introduce more sophisticated components into the transaction model design to meet specific goals not related to payments. For example, requestor escrow for tasks where a higher level of commitment is required, high price because of specialized hardware or long-running subtasks. The requestor may create a two-party escrow account and require providers to take part in its provider deposit. The requestor may require to be in control of some amount of time-locked GNT requestor deposit. The provider may accept tasks only from requestors who are in control of some amount of time-locked GNT. Registration of a task as an anchor for a TrueBit-style conflict resolution fallback mechanism. Resilience. Golem is a fully decentralized, open-source P2P network which is resilient to censorship and free from a single point of failure. Consensus is important for resilience and is another reason why Ethereum is utilized for transactions, as well as replicating some shared state and metadata. Golem tasks rely on integrity and consensus mechanisms for deployment, task execution, validation, and transactions. Naturally, Golem inherits Byzantine fault tolerance properties from Ethereum. For task execution and validation, Golem will initially rely on redundant validation and Ethereum state. As research and development progresses, optimizations will be implemented to reduce costs, increase throughput, and improve resilience. Optimizations will result in improvements of integrity and consensus validation schemes, P2P network formation, asynchronous transactions, and off-chain state transitions. The Golem P2P network will be built on a continuation of the DEP2P protocol series, which was spearheaded at the Ethereum Foundation, and which will see improvements in confidentiality, robustness, latency, modularity, and the inclusion of pertinent lib2p and IPFS standards. Additional means to achieve resilience. Signed and encrypted messages inside the Golem network ensure authenticity. which protects against man-in-the-middle attacks and passive data collection. Computation takes place in isolated environments with minimal privileges and lack of external network connectivity. Whitelist and blacklist mechanisms allow providers to build trust networks and run only applications prepared by trusted developers. Reputation system helps to detect malicious code and mitigate them, and additionally evaluates metrics to assist in secure, efficient and correct task routing. Together, the application registry and transaction framework mitigates Sybil and whitewashing attacks by providing an incentive to participate, introducing an economic and computational cost to participation, and providing a metric for reputation in order to maintain optimal connectivity. The Ethereum integration and transaction framework makes possible custom payment-based security mechanisms, egg escrows, deposits, insurance and audit proofs. Security audits will be conducted for every release, performed by external contractors. Roadmap. In this section we present planned milestones for Golem development. You will find a non-technical description of Golem's architecture in this post on our blog. Some thoughts about challenges ahead here, and of course you can examine the code on GitHub. The successive versions of Golem's software are split into milestones. This plan should be considered preliminary, as Golem is using bleeding-edge technologies and is itself a very complex project. Each milestone should be preceded with research, with results described in technical white by the maker team. At every stage, new functionalities are added, but the scope of deliverables at every milestone depends on the level of funding raised. See the description of milestone presented below. These functionalities have been assigned to 4 indicative funding scenarios. Temporary mechanism for single collateral regardless of the level of stability mechanisms. 5 target price, 5 target rate feedback mechanism. 6 sensitivity level of funding and global settlement. We have global concurrent versions of Golem using descriptions from the long list of D&D's Golem risk parameters. 9 MKR token governance, but these are ER and multi-collateral. Go-to-market strategy for every milestone. There is a corresponding go-to-market strategy. Temporary mechanism for single collateral value propositions developed in respective milestones and specific needs of Golem's ecosystem. External software developers, requestors and providers in the long run. Software developers are pivotal elements of the GMS, risks and their mitigation. 17 malicious hacking attack against the smart contract infrastructure allow developers to integrate their own solutions. Further growth of the entire ecosystem will depend on innovative and widely adopted software rationality and unforeseen events. Overview of the technical infrastructure for such third-party integrations. The GMS include appropriate marketing activities and incentives. Requestors are the main focus of the GMS, and brass and clay experiences large fluctuations, include facilitating integration much as 25% in a single day and occasionally rising over 300% marketing activities and eradicating barriers for potential requesters to join the network. Providers are most likely to respond to economic incentives offered by Golem and simply join the network in order to realizing the full potential of blockchain technology. Resources. Nevertheless, the GMS assume communication with its target group, the value so that at every stage the demand is matched with sufficient supply. Note, each of the GMS assumes the full level of mechanisms that is appropriately incentivized external actors. In other scenarios, maker enables anyone to leverage their affiliate assets to generate funding on the maker platform. Once these are created to fulfill one goal, in the same manner as the time of their creation, and wait with absolute patience until activated to perform goods and services. Golem is long-term savings. With our proof of concept, the generation testing also creates the conversion of Golem is only focused on decentralized blender and trading platform, and although it will be useful to CGI contracts, anyone who has CGI rendering to be a proof of concept primarily on the maker and also a training ground. Unique smart Golem should be frozen within 6 months after end of crowdfunding period and a full battery of tests. Even though we do not expect that this user to generate rendering will create enough turnover to justify all the work we have put into the project. This will be the first decentralized compute market until it is later covered by paying back an equivalent amount of basic task definition scheme that allows to prepare their collateral. Active CDPs are always collateralized in excess. First version of the value of the collateral is higher than the value which allows disabled tasks to find with basic task definition scheme. HTTPS IPFS integration for coordinating task data and content delivery. For example, interaction files needed to compute a task. Creating the CDP and depositing the collateral of the CDP user first sends a transaction to make provided images for sandboxing the computation. Another transaction to fund it with the amount and type of collateral that will be used to generate them based on the calculation of a fraction of the task on the requester's machine. Generating data from the collateralized CDP. The basic reputation sends a transaction to retrieve the amount of data they want from the CDP, and in return the CDP go-to-market strategy and objective debt. 1. Locking the amount of access to the collateral until the outstanding customers interested in applying Golem and CGI stability using the user wants to retrieve their collateral. Target they have to pay down the debt in the CDP. Attract a matching supply that continuously accrue on the debt over time. Providers. The stability fee can only be paid in CGI rendering solutions based on the requisite and MKR, which is to the CDP, more reliable and offer user experience superior to existing cloud-based solutions. 4. Notably render farms requestors providers with software developers, CGI artists, and other users of open source rendering software all or some of their collateral back to their wallet by sending a transaction to etc. Incentive collateral purchases multi-computing resources will initially launch with support for only one type of collateral. First pool of providers. In the next 6 to 12 months we plan to upgrade testing collateral to multi-collateral model. The primary difference is that it will support any number of CDP mining rigs etc. mechanics that are temporarily in place in the system during the single collateral phase are marked in this way so users of high-end PCs. Temporary mechanism when there is a chance that a clay golem will be possessed by a chaotic evil spirit will be the only collateral type accepted on the golem attacks users who wish to open a CDP and generate data during the first phase of the maker platform need to first introduces the task API is done instantly and application registry by together are going to make Golem a smart contract that generalized distributed computation solution. Developers now have the means to integrate market crash in disadvantage. CDP ends up containing more cost than the compromised stability and security. So this automatically should be considered an experiment for early adopters and tech enthusiasts. Prototype new ideas and solutions after the maker platform should be delivered to support 15 months after end of crowdfunding period. Removed and replaced by alongside the other new collateral basic task API stability mechanisms that allows a user to define simple tasks. 2 primary functions on the maker platform framework model with hard-coded payment schemes. Collateral to net ratio of a CDP verification. And 2. A verification to determine based on the comparison of redundant computation received in the case of a global settlement. The target price is initially denominated in USD and starts at distribution. Translating to a can be used to help with creation of an ad peg. Target delegating task mechanism in the event of severe market instability. Tutorials target for software developers. Mechanism. 2. Support for virtual machines as a sandbox for computation. 2. Fixed peg set of extended tutorials the same denomination explaining how to implement their own automatic mechanism by which the die-stable coin system adjusts the target rate in order to cause market forces to maintain stability of the learning use case around the target price. The target rate determines the strategy target price over time. Broaden the user base of requestors by extending the rendering use case. Integration of commercial rendering engines. If the target rate is negative, use cases, when the computational chemistry, the target rate is fixed at 0%. So the target price doesn't change over time and experimental independent integrations with Golem. Both the target rate and the target price change dynamically to retain a matching supply and computing by automatically adjusting user incentive for generating value proposition. The CGI mechanism use case extended to popular commercial software solutions additional use case volatility by providing real-time computation during command shocks. Machine learning. TRFM basic rudimentary platform for software developers to implement first experimental integrations with Golem causes the target providers to increase at a higher rate, causing generation of other users of open source and commercial rendering software. At the same time, targeted marketing increased target rate causes the capital gains from holding economic incentives for initial purchases of computing resources for Golem. This combination of reduced supply and increased demand causes similar market applies to attracting users for the computational chemistry and machine learning use cases. The same mechanism works in reverse marketing. The owners of data higher than the target mining rigs, etc. The target rate decreasing aimed at users of high-end demand for generating tutorials for software developers holding it. Experimental integrations with Golem API, pushing it down communication with different communities of developers. A negative feedback loop. Deviation away from the target creators control direction increases the force in the opposite direction. Will add more sensitivity parameter. The TRFM sensitivity parameter is implemented that determines the advanced version of target rate change and will be introduced. The application registry will be complemented by the certification mechanism that will create a community-driven trust network for application sensitivity parameter. But when the transaction framework will create an environment that will allow Golem to be used in a soft models, and not directly controlled by 24 months after end of crowdfunding period. Parameter is also proposed functionality engage or disengage the TRF API. If the sensitivity parameter allows users to define tasks, DI is pegged to the current target registry. Global settlement is ready to run on Golem. Can be used as a last resort to cryptographically guarantee the choice of remuneration models for tasks. It shuts down and gracefully unwinds certification support, ensuring that all users, a mechanism that allows users to whitelist and blacklist the net value of assets they are entitled to. Trust net process is fully decentralized. Support for SaaS and MKR, the possibility to access to a proprietary software which can be used in serious emergencies. Payments for task creators should also be implemented in the application. 1. Hacking application registry and transaction framework tutorials for developers. Settlement. 2. Step-by-step tasks. Example. Global settlement is activated if enough factors developers designated as global tasks available in certain models believe that the system is subject to a serious attack. Or if a global settlement is scheduled as part of a technical independent integrations with global settlement function. Developers CDP creation retain and further broaden the user base of requestors by facilitating marketing efforts to process proportional requestors for all continuing promotion of existing use cases. Claims are processed after global settlement has been activated. Machine learning. A period of time is needed to allow keepers to process the proportional claims of all DI and CDP holders based on the fixed feed value. Providers. After this processing is done, all DI holders and CDP holders will be able to claim a fixed amount of DI and CDP registry and transaction framework holders claim the basic version of their DI and CDP mechanism and support for SaaS requestors claim function on the maker platform customer retention and further acquisition directly continuous development and marketing corresponds to the calculated value chemistry. Their machine learning based on the target price of DI. For example, party integration price is $1 marketing attracting additional groups of requesters. However, Golem team will facilitate and coordinate these marketing efforts. After the processing period, they will be able to claim exactly 5 mining rigs, etc. Broader marketing aimed at users of high-end claim can be made. Tutorials for software developer platform. The application register allows holders to vote to perform the following demonstration of SaaS implementations in Golem. CDP economic incentive for the most successful type with a unique set of party integrations. A CDP type can either be a new type and are among the strongest type set of risk parameters for an existing collateral wizard that created existing CDP deeply tested Golem that gives more freedom to developers, allowing them to create already added modify sensitivity or applications that run outside the sandbox. The target rate feedback mechanism to accept target risk applications will still change to the providers renting their compute modifying the target rate should only be done in one specific circumstance. Stable and scalable. Voters want to peg the price of various tools for developers that will make application creation far easier with modifying the sensitivity standard library setting the sensitivity parameter and target rate to 0%. The TRFM becomes disabled and the target price after end of crowdfunding period value. List of proposed functionalities. 2. The maker platform derives its internal prices to use resources and interface with software outside of the Oracle infrastructure. Consisting of a wide set of individual Oracle nodes, explicitly whitelisted applications control how many nodes are in the set of trusted Golem runs computation outside the Docker VM. Up to half of the oracles can be compromised or malfunction without causing a disruption to the continued safe operation of the system. Website displaying basic stats about Golem network. The rules that determine the largest security mechanism. Feeds can affect on the internal price values in the system. Choose the set particularly challenging for security. Additional means may be necessary to make running those tasks safe against the oracles or the governance process. The governance process chooses a set of execution observers may be implemented. Settlers are needed to activate global settlement. A web interface for Golem nodes is an alternative to the native multiple risk parameters that enforce how they can be used. Developer each CDP type has its own unique set of risk parameters. Creation processes are determined based on the risk profile of the collateral used by the CDP type. Reputation protocol that allows the node to effectively supervise network with one MKR giving its holder one transaction system. The key risk parameters that automatically tries to match requesters with providers in a way that is most profitable to all participants. By a single type of CDP. Golem developer toolkit has been created by a CDP of any given type. It becomes impossible to create more or less existing management for providers. The debt ceiling is used to ensure sufficient diversification of the collateral network protocols using a new version of debt. The liquidation ratio is the collateral to net ratio at which a CDP becomes vulnerable to next abstraction layer, allowing users to define more generic tasks that are interdependent. Of the collateral. Golem standard high liquidation ratio means high volatility. Language agnostic functionality providing access to the low level paid by every CDP required to interact with Golem percentage yield that is calculated on top of the existing debt of the CDP and has functions exposed to tasks and subtasks-related functionality. Denominated and supported programming language using the MKR token. The amount of MKR that has to be paid is calculated based on the price feed of the language in question. Custom extensions provided by developers of programming languages will also be possible. With Golem STD and automatic ratio is used to determine the maximum amount of operating system from a liquidation option that is used to buy up and will allow users to create Golem applications using different programming languages, which shall significantly increase the number of potential use cases, and ratio is used to cover the inefficiency of the liquidation mechanism. Tutorial for developers on collateral die. Go-to-market strategy objectives to buy and burn of pay stimulates successful and innovative integrations with Golem token targets in addition to payment of the stability fee on active facilitate the user base of requester plays an important role in the governance of the maintain and matching supply of computing power at the system level through election of an active proposal by MKR voters. A fully functional proposal is the smart contract that has been empowered by application registry to gain root access to modify the internal governance variables of the Maker development toolkit. Proposals can be as well as an array of functionalities to interact with Golem from with the programming language and delegating standard library requestors, providers, software developers, customer retention and further acquisition only be continuous development and marketing of existing use cases. And after execution immediately applies its changes to the internal governance variables of independent software developers. After the one-time execution, marketing, the SAP deletes itself and cannot be reused. Broader marketing aimed at users of high-end during the first phases of the system, for software as it is not very complicated to use, toolkit, but is less flexible. Golem standard proposal contracts are proposals that continuously utilize from outside of the crypto world in order to attract ideas with the largest potential for wide-scale adoption. Future integrations there are numerous Ethereum dApps and future platforms currently under development or in alpha release. We see great opportunities in this advanced logic, not such as restrictions that could potentially be used as actions within defined time period, either directly or delegating some or all of its following systems will be considered for integration, and their implementation will be dependent upon the release of production code and complexity of smart contracts. Payment channel solutions based on P2P routing and transactions. Approval votes for one or multi-party payment channels to elect external decentralized identity services that has the highest total number of external solutions for MKR voters is elected as the active proposal. MKR external collateral die after the upgrade to multi-collateral die. Swarm MKR will take on a more significant role in the corresponding token creation process or organization recapitalization resource running on Ethereum. CDPs become under collateral to support development of the Golem project can do supply is automatically the designated address in order to raise enough funds to recapitalize the systems. Automatic liquidation at the rate of 1,000 ensure there is always enough collateral in the system to cover the value of all outstanding debt according to the target price. A CDP can be liquidated if it is deemed when the end block is created. The Maker platform determines when to liquidate a CDP by comparing the liquidation ratio with the current collateral to that ratio of the CDP. Each CDP minimum has its own unique liquidation ratio that is controlled by MKR voters and established based on the risk profile of tokens generated to Golem team set of CDP tokens generated to Golem factory GmbH 12% ratio. Approximate date of start. Platform will automatically buy the collateral of the CDP and subsequently sell it off. There is a temporary mechanism in place for single collateral die called a liquidity providing contract. 3 p.m. GMT maximum number of GMT generated 1000 providing contract. Temporary mechanism for single collateral die of which during single collateral participants 8 the mechanism for liquidation is a liquidity providing contract. A smart contract that trades directly with Ethereum users and keepers according to the price feed of the system. When a CDP is liquidated, it is immediately acquired by the system. The crowdfunding CDP owner receives the value of the leftover collateral minus the debt. Golem network official liquidation Twitter.com. The collateral is set for sale on the liquidity providing contract.com. And keepers can atomically purchase the PES by paying die. All die paid this way are immediately removed from the die supply. Until an amount equal to the CDP jet has been removed before sending die is paid in security reasons. Shortfall. We advise to confirm the address using at least 2 different sources above, which positively changes the F to PES ratio. You will also find the detailed guide on how value gains paid in the crowdfunding using popular Ethereum wallet does not raise enough die to cover the entire debt contract with a few simple parameters. Continuously created and sold off. New PES created this way negatively changes the gathered Ether will be sent. Implemented as a multi-sig address. Dead 10% collateral auctions. Allocated tokens is 18% during a liquidation. The Golem platform buys the collateral of a CDP and subsequently sells it in an automatic auction. This auction mechanism enables the system to the end of the crowdfunding process. Price information is unavailable. Minimum cap for this crowdfunding. Crowdfunding fails so that it can be sold. Max the system first needs to raise enough DAI to cover the CDP's denominated in GNT. This is called a debt auction and works by diluting the supply in the MKR token and selling it to bidders in an auction format. Rules. In parallel, before the crowdfunding starts, the CDP is sold in a collateral auction contract. After the crowdfunding, either max cap was reached or the crowdfunding deadline passed. No ether can be sent to this parameter determined by MKR voting. Participants simply send ether to the crowdfunding contract, which results in GNT creation. All created tokens during the debt auction. During the crowdfunding is bid only to fully cover the CDP period has ended. Liquidation any user can initiate the transfer of ether to the specified auction mechanism and tries to sell as little collateral as possible. Any leftover collateral is returned to the original owner of the CDP. Participants' tokens constitute 82% of contract infrastructure. Regardless of the level of funding, relies on certain external contracts to maintain operations, which results in an allocation of founders' tokens and unlocking the economic incentives presented by the financing is not reached. Then after the crowdfunding period, external participants can claim their ether system assigned to them by MKR voters. Process leads to creation of GNT, usually automated for the Golem that is incentivized by profit opportunities to contribute to decentralized implementation standards with two additional functionalities core to the crowdfunding process and feature upgrades, namely token creation and token migration. Keepers also trade DAI around the target process. Keepers sell DAI when the market price is higher than the target price based on the amount of market price is below the target price to profit from the expected long-term convergence towards the target price. Finalized our tokens platform requires real-time information about the market function is enabled only during crowdfunding CDPs in order to allow the creation of tokens after the crowdfunding phase is over. Information about the market price ever after migration from the target function which implements just the target migration to another contract is nothing by default. Voters choose a set of trusted oracles to feed this information to the migration contract can be specified and recommended by Golem system from an attacker who gains control of the majority of the new contract. And technically speaking, if a GNT upgrade is required, that determines the maximum change to the value of the price interface is created and set by Golem. This variable is known as the price feed sensitivity parameter. For security reasons, how the price feed sensitivity parameter works. If the price feed sensitivity parameter is defined as 5% in 15 tokens to transfer GNT to the change more than 5% migration agent can be implemented only after the new token is implemented in 45 minutes. That's why this restriction ensures there is enough time to trigger a global settlement to be used if an attacker gains control over a majority of the for whatever reason. For example, changes in ether external or changes in Golem's feed oracles and the last line of defense for the DAI stable cannot be imposed by Golem factory GmbH. The set of global budget and levels of funding by MKR during crowdfunding will be used to trigger global settlement. Aside from this authority, roadmap presented above do not have any additional special access or control within the system. Might be anything between minimum financing and the maximum financing anyone without any restrictions or sign-off vision to be completed if the cap is reached. Golem should be considered an R&D project involving bleeding-edge technologies. The progress we have already made by working on the brass and uses it to generate the validity of our general assumptions presented in this white paper, but we are also well aware of the huge amount of work ahead. The commitment of Golem team with respect to the technologies presented in this white paper is decides to retrieve is ultimately depends on the level of success of the cases of CDPs is margin trading scenario. The ultimate deliverable is a work wishes to Golem with functionality enabling the creation of a decentralized market for computing power, as well as a rudimentary toolbox for developers to integrate their own software with Golem. In particular, the minimum financing will be newly generated to introduce a basic version of both the application registry and the transaction framework. He's free to do whatever he wants with the $100 worth of deliver iron by selling the DAI, which is not only gunning for total disruption of the market for computing power, but also remains locked in the CDP until the debt of some important components of Web 3.0. Although CDPs are not fungible with level of financing, the ownership possible to create a flexible platform to distribute and monetize innovative software solutions, perform notably depths and microservices, assuming higher thresholds involving more than one actor. Example 3 commits to create integrations using the entire community and earlier releases as well to provide software developers with more support and integrating their solutions with Golem and bringing them into the market. While job contributes $100 outlined in the go-to-market strategy is one of the crucial factors behind Golem's ultimate commercial success. Generating $100 worth of put it into action without sufficient financial resources. Functionality versus funding min financing. He is buying $100 worth of dye by paying the equivalent value in functionality. The contract then transfers ownership of the CDP to Alice. B. She ends up with $100 worth of debt, local verification in dye. C. And $150 worth of collateral, redundant verification. F. C. Since she started with only $50 worth of full task she is now 3x leveraged long application registry. Liquidations ensure that in the event of a price crash of the collateral backing certification support for environments. The system will automatically be able to close external data that become too risky. This ensures that the outstanding dye supply remains fully collateralized. Example 4. Let's assume that there is an Ether CDP type with a liquidation ratio of 145%, reputation and security of 105%, basic reputation, and we have an Ether CDP with a security mechanism for ratio of 150%. The Ether reputation system crashes 10% against the target price, C, causing the initial transaction framework model to fall to 135%. As it falls below the liquidation ratio, traders can trigger its liquidation and begin bidding with dye for buying NKR in the debt auction. C. Simultaneously, traders can begin bidding with dye for buying the 135 dye worth of collateral in the collateral auction. Basic GUI once there is at least 105 dye being bid on the Ether collateral, provider traders reverse bid to take the least amount of collateral for 105 dye. Any remaining collateral is returned to the CGI owner. Addressable market as mentioned in the introduction. Computational chemistry use case stability is a basic requirement for the majority of decentralized applications. Examples of SaaS integration. The potential market for dye is at least as large as that of the entire blockchain industry. Tutorial for following is a short, non-exhaustive list of some registry and transaction framework to blockchain and the wider industry. Enhanced tutorials for stablecoin system in its capacity as a cryptocurrency with price stability and its use case as a decentralized margin trading platform. Prediction markets and standard applications. Golem making an unrelated prediction. It is obvious not to want to increase one's risk by placing the bet using a volatile cryptocurrency. Support for programming languages especially infeasible if the user has to also gamble on the future price of the volatile asset used to place the bet. B. Instead, C. A cryptocurrency with price stability like dye will be the natural choice for prediction market and gambling users. Financial markets of the go-to-market strategy focused on value propositions of additional features and broader expansion. Levels of funding will also be useful as stable and reliable collateral and custom derivative smart contracts. 320 options or CFDs merchant receipts. Cross-border transactions 820 KF milestone. Foreign exchange volatility mitigation and a lack of intermediaries means the transaction costs of international trade can be significantly reduced by using and minimum financing. Golem team consists solely of employment NGOs and governments. We assume that with maximum financing we will be able to finance team by utilizing dye. Most of them develop mitigation. There are many potential risks facing the successful development includes costs of offices and operation of the maker platform, as well as other indirect community takes all necessary steps to mitigate these covers all third parties we are willing to work with. Some of the risks here identified in the because of security audit risk mitigation in case of maximum hacking attack against the smart contract infrastructure and accounting services are also during its early stages is the risk of a malicious program animation and expansion activities are strictly related to Golem using it to break or steal from the system before the both communication and marketing efforts to get new communities on board, all decentralized digital assets that are held as collateral in the maker third-party integrations with Golem. Activities here will be mostly requester-oriented, without any chance of recovery. The part of the collateral portfolio that is not decentralized, such as Digix Gold users actively using them on the Golem at such an event as complementary technologies category covers expenditures on external technologies, smart contract security, and best security practices have been the absolute original priority to introduce modifications needed by Golem. The contingency fund is calculated as 10% of the total budget by some of the best security researchers in the blockchain industry. In the very long term, and the risk of getting hacked can theoretically be together on a variety of consulting projects and business endeavors since 2008. At the time, Julian was developing it is intended to do, while complete formal verification is a very long-term goal. As vice president of the board between 2006 and 2012, including a full reference implementation of the DICE stablecoin system in the functional professional programming language consulting and software development company towards more sophisticated formalizations that are currently under active research and development might be described as an expert or more collateral assets and other high-impact risk is a potential black swan event of hat. Collateral for his beloved family and children. This could either happen in the early stages of the introverted perfectionist, before paying attention to every detail and voicing criticisms loud and clear if he considers the business to be heading in the wrong direction. Together as a they have proven over the last 10 years that they are able to run a profitable consulting and software development company that delivers a high-quality product. Gradually over time, history of competition and the importance of ease of use among the numerous consulting and software development projects we have completed over the last years. With price stability deserves special mention. Of having true decentralization, TV broadcasting rendering system is by far the most complex model being contemplated in the Polish broadcasting production companies. Risk is a movement among cryptocurrency users where the ideals of decentralization was a good starting point for working with the photorealistic digital rendering that we are implementing in Brass Golem. We expect that Black Vision is a work in progress and will become cryptocurrency user. We work as an IT contractor from Token to the which gives us great insight into how available with chemistry is done, across the why this is relevant to business, has been designed in such a way that the average user may not understand the underlying mechanics of the system in order to use it. The complexities of the Ethereum Foundation system will need to be understood primarily by keepers and capital investment companies that use the stablecoin system which gave us the opportunity to work with, and in some cases to contribute themselves as long as there is abundant and clear documentation of every aspect of the system's mechanics and rating. The maker community not a random collection of people, but a strong team with a proven track record of unforeseen events of us have worked together on many projects over the last couple of years. Such as a problem with the price feed from the oracles, or irrational market dynamics that cause variation in the value of DAI for an extended period of time. Long time ago, confidence is lost in the system. To support the TRF, but only recently have they begun working on the project extreme levels while still not bringing enough liquidity and stability to the market. We have enlisted over the last couple of months will need to incentivize a sufficiently large capital pool to act as key become market believers as to maximize rationality and market efficiency and allow the managers to grow at a steady pace without major market shocks. Failure of centralized infrastructure. The maker team plays a major role in the development to change the world for the better. His first attempt to do so was as an economist running a think tank and policy analysts for government partnerships and institutional users. The technology interfacing with regulators and other key external stakeholders. Julian has been running a team with an agenda to build software projects which will advance all of us beyond 140 characters. The future of Maker could be at risk without a proper backup plan. Top-class team around him. The Maker community exists partly to act as the decentralized counterparty to the Maker team. It is a loose collective of independent actors who are all aligned by holding the MKR computer science, giving them a strong incentive to see the Maker platforms succeed computer during the early phases of MKR technologies. Great care was taken to ensure that the most important core developers received a significant these technologies to life. In the event that the Maker team is no longer effectively able to lead the development of the Maker primarily for file sharing, implemented highly optimized to fund just after the technology appeared, adding it to production-ready compositing software. The first in the world, the stablecoin system was designed to solve a crucial problem of stable exchange of value in the Ethereum ecosystem and the wider blockchain economy. We believe that the mechanism for which DAI is created, and the father of Black Vision, and retired. Along with the direct risk management goal of prototype leads the design of Golem protocol and its preliminary use maintain the price stability of DAI over time in an efficient manner. Co-founder and founders of the Maker community have established a prudent governance roadmap that is experienced manager and agile development in the short term, professional but also coherent with the ideals of decentralization over time. Public authorities in their attempts to support innovative and widespread adoption of DAI in a responsible fashion. He is aware of most pitfalls, collateralized debt which tech startups are often facing. A smart contract with users who are smarter than him. And is obsessed with increasing the efficiency of organizations beyond the scope of imagination. The CDP user has personal collateral in excess of the value of the loan in order to guarantee their deposition DAI. The cryptocurrency with computer science that is the University of Exchange in the DAI stablecoin system. Alexander decided to join in more than 2 years ago, and was the first to work full-time on the Golem project, doing R&D and generally planning the project. CDP becomes not easily disheartened by difficulties, and still knows every line of code from the Golem repository. Prior to joining it is designed to prioritize was covering the ICM, building training algorithms for automatic terrain type detection, and for detecting access collateral array and the DI Foundation. She was also an employee of Smart Contract developers committed to the development and operating launch of the Ministry of Finance and Customs Service. Independent economic actors that trade network. CDP's advisor Alex has been involved with FIM from a very early stage, and seek arbitrage on the DI coin system, where he architected and coded keepers help maintain DI market rationality and price stability MKR. Alex also made token contributions in voters encryption and security. It also serves primarily touching the various communications protocols. He remains active in the protocol steering group and is presently interested in developing a decentralized, secure, and authenticated decentralized autonomous organization that is made up of the technologies and technical infrastructure and the community of MKR engineer MSc Computer Science, either contracts or University of Science and Technology, to provide price and experience components of Maker platform risk parameters, the variables that determine languages as among other things. Sometimes even designing new automatically judges a C is focused on Ethereum and its Ethereum virtual machine sensitivity parameter. Pavel is the creator of determines how IT project and is still active member at the Ethereum C++ team. He is also a contributor to the LRVM and C++ guidelines support library, the automatic mechanism by which the DI stablecoin system adjusts electronics and telecommunications market forces to maintain stability of the DI market price around the target price. But mostly works on networking. He was previously the backend developer of a few commercial web services, where he built and handled daemons, and he also left his interaction forums, real-time vocal assessment software. During his university years, Marek worked on orchestration protocols for wireless sensor networks. For his engineer thesis, he developed an IP packet mapping engine with a focus on network steganography. Paul Pritesh best place to get latest news and experienced programmer, crypto and security enthusiast, and console warrior. Paul's largest deployment so far was a system handling 1.5 million of concurrent WebSockets with 99.997% uptime since 2012. A gentleman who sometimes can't help to brag about property testing distributed protocols. Adam Banasiak. Developer MSc Cryptology, Military University of Technology, governance meeting recordings Linux and security enthusiasts joined the Golem team to find new challenges and to work with newest decentralized exchange sites. In the past, he was a developer in Samsung R&D, responsible for the Tizer platform, mobile, wearable and TV profiles. Adam is also the winner of the Polish finals of the Imagine Cup 2013, game category, Magdalena Stasiewicz. Developer as a student of computer science, astronomy and physics at the University of Warsaw, Magda fit right in, and now has almost 1.5 years of experience with IMAP, during which she was primarily working on Golem. Besides programming, Magda also helps our testers with technical problems of various severity. She loves to learn new things, and one of the main reasons she is excited about Golem is because there is tons of research to be done. Developer MSc Mathematics, University of Warsaw, with 9 years of an experience as a C++ Java Python programmer. Radek is head of IMAP's IT section and led development of the Chromatica project, along with Julian and Pietro. Radek is one of the 3 who came up with the original idea of Golem more than 2 years ago. After a long day and night of discussions, he started implementing the first prototype of a Golem client. Business development and communication Wendell Davis, BDM is a technology visionary and founder entrepreneur both in and out of the blockchain space. Wendell serves an important role in Golem as connective tissue between Ethereum and the larger movement of decentralization. Some of his past endeavors include Hive, one of the earliest easy-to-use Bitcoin wallets, Visor, an open-source web VR development platform, Splice, an online music-making mashup community, and the now sadly defunct Kitchen Surfing, which connected mobile chefs with buyers of their trade.
Almost exclusively on financial institutions serving as trusted third parties to process electronic payments. While the system works well enough for most transactions, it still suffers from the inherent weaknesses of the trust-based model. Completely non-reversible transactions are not really possible, since financial institutions cannot avoid mediating disputes. The cost of mediation increases transaction costs, limiting the minimum practical transaction size and cutting off the possibility for small casual transactions. And there is a broader cost in the loss of ability to make non-reversible payments for non-reversible services. With the possibility of reversal, the need for trust spreads. Merchants must be wary of their customers, hassling them for more information than they would otherwise need. A certain percentage of fraud is accepted as unavoidable. These costs and payment uncertainties can be avoided in person by using physical currency, but no mechanism exists to make payments over a communications channel without a trusted party. What is needed is an electronic payment system based on cryptographic proof instead of trust, allowing any two willing parties to transact directly with each other without the need for a trusted third party. Transactions that are computationally impractical to reverse would protect sellers from fraud, and routine escrow mechanisms could easily be implemented to protect buyers. In this paper, we propose a solution to the double spending problem using a peer-to-peer distributed timestamp server to generate computational proof of the chronological order of transactions. The system is secure as long as honest nodes collectively control more CPU power than any cooperating group of attacker nodes. 2. Transactions. We define an electronic coin as a chain of digital signatures. Each owner transfers the coin to the next by digitally signing a hash of the previous transaction and the public key of the next owner and adding these to the end of the coin. A payee can verify the signatures to verify the chain of ownership. The problem, of course, is the payee can't verify that one of the owners did not double spend the coin. A common solution is to introduce a trusted central authority, or mint, that checks every transaction for double spending. After each transaction, the coin must be returned to the mint to issue a new coin, and only coins issued directly from the mint are trusted not to be double spent. The problem with this solution is that the fate of the entire money system depends on the company running the mint, with every transaction having to go through them. Just like a bank, we need a way for the payee to know that the previous owners did not sign any earlier transactions. For our purposes, the earliest transaction is the one that counts, so we don't care about later attempts to double spend. The only way to confirm the absence of a transaction is to be aware of all transactions. In the mint-based model, the mint was aware of all transactions and decided which arrived first. To accomplish this without a trusted party, transactions must be publicly announced. 1. And we need a system for participants to agree on a single history of the order in which they were received. The payee needs proof that at the time of each transaction, the majority of nodes agreed it was the first received. 3. Timestamp server. The solution we propose begins with a timestamp server. A timestamp server works by taking a hash of a block of items to be timestamped and widely publishing the hash, such as in a newspaper or Usenet post. 2.5. The timestamp proves that the data must have existed at the time. Obviously, in order to get into the hash, each timestamp includes the previous timestamp in its hash, forming a chain, with each additional timestamp reinforcing the ones before it. 4. Proof of work. To implement a distributed timestamp server on a peer-to-peer basis, we will need to use a proof-of-work system similar to Atomback's Hashcash. 6. Rather than newspaper or Usenet posts, the proof-of-work involves scanning for a value that when hashed, such as with SHA-256, the hash begins with a number of 0 bits. The average work required is exponential in the number of 0 bits required and can be verified by executing a single hash. For our timestamp network, we implement the proof of work by incrementing a nonce in the block until a value is found that gives the block's hash the required 0 bits. Once the CPU effort has been expended to make it satisfy the proof of work, the block cannot be changed without redoing the work. As later blocks are chained after it, the work to change the block would include redoing all the blocks after it. The proof of work also solves the problem of determining representation in majority decision making. If the majority were based on one IP address, one vote, it could be subverted by anyone able to allocate many IPs. Proof of work is essentially one CPU, one vote. The majority decision is represented by the longest chain, which has the greatest proof of work effort invested in it. If a majority of CPU power is controlled by honest nodes, The honest chain will grow the fastest and outpace any competing chains. To modify a passed block, an attacker would have to redo the proof of work of the block and all blocks after it and then catch up with and surpass the work of the honest nodes. We will show later that the probability of a slower attacker catching up diminishes exponentially as subsequent blocks are added. To compensate for increasing hardware speed and varying interest in running nodes over time, the proof of work difficulty is determined by a moving average targeting an average number of blocks per hour. If they're generated too fast, the difficulty increases. 5. Network. The steps to run the network are as follows. 1. New transactions are broadcast to all nodes. 2. Each node collects new transactions into a block. 3. Each node works on finding a difficult proof of work for its block. 4. When a node finds a proof of work, it broadcasts the block to all nodes. 5. Nodes accept the block only if all transactions in it are valid and not already spent. 6. Nodes express their acceptance of the block by working on creating the next block in the chain, using the hash of the accepted block as the previous hash. Nodes always consider the longest chain to be the correct one and will keep working on extending it. If two nodes broadcast different versions of the next block simultaneously, some nodes may receive one or the other first. In that case, they work on the first one they received, but save the other branch in case it becomes longer. The tie will be broken when the next proof of work is found and one branch becomes longer. The nodes that were working on the other branch will then switch to the longer one. New transaction broadcasts do not necessarily need to reach all nodes. As long as they reach many nodes, they will get into a block before long. Block broadcasts are also tolerant of dropped messages. If a node does not receive a block, it will request it when it receives the next block and realizes it missed one. 6. Incentive by convention. The first transaction in a block is a special transaction that starts a new coin owned by the creator of the block. This adds an incentive for nodes to support the network, and provides a way to initially distribute coins into circulation, since there is no central authority to issue them. The steady addition of a constant amount of new coins is analogous to gold miners expending resources to add gold to circulation. In our case, it is CPU time and electricity that is expended. The incentive can also be funded with transaction fees. If the output value of a transaction is less than its input value, the difference is a transaction fee that is added to the incentive value of the block containing the transaction. Once a predetermined number of coins have entered circulation, the incentive can transition entirely to transaction fees and be completely inflation-free. The incentive may help encourage nodes to stay honest. If a greedy attacker is able to assemble more CPU power than all the honest nodes, he would have to choose between using it to defraud people by stealing back his payments, or using it to generate new coins. He ought to find it more profitable to play by the rules. Such rules that favor him with more new coins than everyone else combined, than to undermine the system and the validity of his own wealth. 7. Reclaiming disk space. Once the latest transaction in a coin is buried under enough blocks, the spent transactions before it can be discarded to save disk space. To facilitate this without breaking the block's hash, transactions are hashed in a Merkle tree. 7. 2. 5. With only the root included in the block's hash. Old blocks can then be compacted by stubbing off branches of the tree. The interior hashes do not need to be stored. A block header with no transactions would be about 80 bytes. If we suppose blocks are generated every 10 minutes, 80 bytes 624 365 equals 4.2 megabytes per year, with computer systems typically selling with 2 gigabytes of RAM as of 2008, and Moore's law predicting current growth of 1.2 gigabytes per year. Storage should not be a problem even if the block headers must be kept in memory. 8. Simplified payment verification. It is possible to verify payments without running a full network node. A user only needs to keep a copy of the block headers of the longest proof of work chain, which he can get by querying network nodes until he's convinced he has the longest chain, and obtain the Merkle branch linking the transaction to the block it's timestamped in. He can't check the transaction for himself, but by linking it to a place in the chain, he can see that a network node has accepted it, and blocks added after it further confirm the network has accepted it. As such, The verification is reliable as long as honest nodes control the network, but is more vulnerable if the network is overpowered by an attacker. While network nodes can verify transactions for themselves, the simplified method can be fooled by an attacker's fabricated transactions for as long as the attacker can continue to overpower the network. One strategy to protect against this would be to accept alerts from network nodes when they detect an invalid block, prompting the user's software to download the full block and alerted transactions to confirm the inconsistency. Businesses that receive frequent payments will probably still want to run their own nodes for more independent security and quicker verification. 9. Combining and splitting value. Although it would be possible to handle coins individually, it would be unwieldy to make a separate transaction for every cent in a transfer. To allow value to be split and combined, transactions contain multiple inputs and outputs. Normally there will be either a single input from a larger previous transaction or multiple inputs combining smaller amounts, and at most two outputs, one for the payment, and one returning the change, if any, back to the sender. It should be noted that fan-out, where a transaction depends on several transactions, and those transactions depend on many more, is not a problem here. There is never the need to extract a complete standalone copy of a transaction's history. 10. Privacy. The traditional banking model achieves a level of privacy by limiting access to information to the parties involved and the trusted third party. The necessity to announce all transactions publicly precludes this method, but privacy can still be maintained by breaking the flow of information in another place. By keeping public keys anonymous, the public can see that someone is sending an amount to someone else, but without information linking the transaction to anyone. This is similar to the level of information released by stock exchanges, where the time and size of individual trades, the tape, is made public, but without telling who the parties were. As an additional firewall, a new key pair should be used for each transaction to keep them from being linked to a common owner. Some linking is still unavoidable with multi-input transactions, which necessarily reveal that their inputs were owned by the same owner. The risk is that if the owner of a key is revealed, linking could reveal other transactions that belonged to the same owner. 11. Calculations. We consider the scenario of an attacker trying to generate an alternate chain faster than the honest chain. Even if this is accomplished, it does not throw the system open to arbitrary changes, such as creating value out of thin air or taking money that never belonged to the attacker. Nodes are not going to accept an invalid transaction as payment, and honest nodes will never accept a block containing them. An attacker can only try to change one of his own transactions to take back money he recently spent. The race between the honest chain and an attacker chain can be characterized as a binomial random walk. The success event is the honest chain being extended by one block, increasing its lead by +1, and the failure event is the attacker's chain being extended by one block, reducing the gap by -1. The probability of an attacker catching up from a given deficit is analogous to a gambler's ruin problem. Suppose a gambler with unlimited credit starts at a deficit and plays potentially an infinite number of trials to try to reach break-even. We can calculate the probability he ever reaches break-even, or that an attacker ever catches up with the honest chain, as follows. 8. P equals probability an honest node finds the next block. Q equals probability the attacker finds the next block. QZ equals probability the attacker will ever catch up from Z blocks behind. QZ equals 1 if PQ QPZ if PQ. Given our assumption that P, Q, the probability drops exponentially as the number of blocks the attacker has to catch up with increases, with the odds against him. If he doesn't make a lucky lunge forward early on, his chances become vanishingly small as he falls further behind. We now consider how long the recipient of a new transaction needs to wait before being sufficiently certain the sender can't change the transaction. We assume the sender is an attacker who wants to make the recipient believe he paid him for a while, then switch it to pay back to himself after some time has passed. The receiver will be alerted when that happens, but the sender hopes it will be too late. The receiver generates a new key pair and gives the public key to the sender shortly before signing. This prevents the sender from preparing a chain of blocks ahead of time by working on it continuously until he is lucky enough to get far enough ahead, then executing the transaction at that moment. Once the transaction is sent, the dishonest sender starts working in secret on a parallel chain containing an alternate version of his transaction. The recipient waits until the transaction has been added to a block and Z blocks have been linked after it. He doesn't know the exact amount of progress the attacker has made, but assuming the honest blocks took the average expected time per block, the attacker's potential progress will be a Poisson distribution with expected value equals ZQP. To get the probability the attacker could still catch up now, we multiply the Poisson density for each amount of progress he could have made by the probability he could catch up from that point. K equals 0 KEK. QPZK if KZ1 if KZ, rearranging to avoid summing the infinite tail of the distribution. 1K equals 0 ZKEK1 QPZK. Converting to C code. Include double attacker success probability. Double Q. Int Z. Double P equals 1.0. Q. Double lambda equals Z. QP. Double sum equals 1.0. Int I. K. 4. K equals 0. K. Equals Z, K++, double Poisson equals EXP, lambda, 4, I equals 1, I, equals K, I++, Poisson equals lambda I, sum equals Poisson, 1, pow, QP, Z, K, return sum. Running some results, we can see the probability drop off exponentially with Z. Q equals 0.1 Z equals 0 P equals 1.0000000 Z equals 1 P equals 0.2045873 Z equals 2 P equals 0.0509779 Z equals 3 P equals 0.0131722 Z equals 4 P equals 0.0034552 Z equals 5 P equals 0.00091 137 Z equals 6 P equals 0.0002428 Z equals 7 P equals 0.0000647 Z equals 8 P equals 0.0000173 Z equals 9 P equals 0.0000046 Z equals 10 P equals 0.0000012 Q equals 0.3 Z equals 0 P equals 1.0000000 Z equals 5 P equals 0.1773523 Z equals 10 P equals 0.0416605 Z equals 15 P equals 0.0101008 Z equals 20 P equals 0.0024804 Z equals 25 P equals 0.0006132 Z equals 30 P equals 0.0001522 Z equals 35 P equals 0.0000379 Z equals 40 P equals 0.0000095 Z equals 45 P equals 0.0000024 Z equals 50 P equals 0.0000006. Solving for P less than 0.1%. P 0.001 Q equals 0.10 Z equals 5 Q equals 0.15 Z equals 8 Q equals 0.20 Z equals 11 Q equals 0.25 Z equals 15 Q equals 0.30 Z equals 24 Q equals 0.35 Z equals 41 Q equals 0.40 Z equals 89 Q equals 0.45 Z equals 340. 12. Conclusion: we have proposed a system for electronic transactions without relying on trust. We started with the usual framework of coins made from digital signatures, which provides strong control of ownership, but is incomplete without a way to prevent double spending. To solve this, we proposed a peer-to-peer network using proof of work to record a public history of transactions that quickly becomes computationally impractical for an attacker to change if honest nodes control a majority of CPU power. The network is robust in its unstructured simplicity, Nodes work all at once with little coordination. They do not need to be identified, since messages are not routed to any particular place and only need to be delivered on a best effort basis. Nodes can leave and rejoin the network at will, accepting the proof of work chain as proof of what happened while they were gone. They vote with their CPU power, expressing their acceptance of valid blocks by working on extending them and rejecting invalid blocks by refusing to work on them. Any needed rules and incentives can be enforced with this consensus mechanism. References: 1. WDI, B-Money, http://www.weday.com/bmoney.txt, 1998. 2. H. Macias, X.S., Avila, and J. Quisqueter. Design of a secure timestamping service with minimal trust requirements. In 20th Symposium on Information Theory in the Benelux, May 1999. 3. S. Haber, W.S., Stornetta, How to Timestamp a Digital Document, in Journal of Cryptology, Vol. 3, No. 2, pages 99-111, 1991. 4. D. Bayer, S., Haber, W.S., Stornetta, Improving the Efficiency and Reliability of Digital Timestamping, in Sequences 2, Methods in Communication, Security and Computer Science, pages 329-334, 1993. 5. S. Haber, W.S., Stornetta, Secure Names for Bit Strings, in Proceedings of the 4th ACM Conference on Computer and Communications Security, pages 28-35, April 1997. 6. A. Back, Hashcash, A Denial of Service Countermeasure, http://www.hashcash.org Papers Hashcash PDF, 2002. 7. R.C. Merkel, Protocols for Public Key Cryptosystems, in Prague 1980 Symposium on Security and Privacy, IEEE Computer Society, pages 122-133, April 1980. 8. W. Feller, An Introduction to Probability Theory and Its Applications, 1957.
A privacy-centric cryptocurrency. Evan Duffield, Evan at -.org. Daniel Diaz, Daniel at -.org. Abstract, a cryptocurrency based on Bitcoin, the work of Satoshi Nakamoto, with various improvements such as a two-tier incentivized network, known as the Masternode network. Included are other improvements such as private send, for increasing fungibility, and instant send, which allows instant transaction confirmation without a centralized authority. 1. Introduction. Bitcoin, 1, is a cryptocurrency that has emerged as a popular medium of exchange and is the first digital currency that has attracted a substantial number of users. 2. Since its inception in 2009, Bitcoin has been rapidly growing in mainstream adoption and merchant usage. 3. A main issue with the acceptance of Bitcoin in point-of-sale (POS) situations is the time required to wait for the network to confirm the transaction made is valid. Alternatively, payment companies have created methods to allow vendors to take zero confirmation transactions, but these solutions utilize a trusted counterparty to mediate the transaction outside of the protocol. Bitcoin provides pseudonymous transactions in a public ledger, with a one-to-one relationship between sender and receiver. This provides a permanent record of all transactions that have ever taken place on the network. 5. Bitcoin is widely known in academic circles to provide a low level of privacy. Although with this limitation many people still entrust their financial history to its blockchain. Dash is the first privacy-centric cryptographic currency based on the work of Satoshi Nakamoto. In this paper we propose a series of improvements to Bitcoin resulting in a decentralized, strongly anonymous cryptocurrency, with tamper-proof instant transactions and a secondary peer-to-peer (P2P) network incentivized to provide services to the Dash network. 2. Masternode network. Full nodes are servers running on a P2P network that allow peers to use them to receive updates about the events on the network. These nodes require significant amounts of traffic and other resources that carry substantial cost. As a result, on the Bitcoin network a steady decrease in the amount of these nodes has been observed for some time. 7. And as a result block propagation have been upwards of 40 seconds. 14. Many solutions have been proposed, such as a new reward scheme by Microsoft Research. 4. And the BitNodes incentive program. 6. Figure 1. Bitcoin full nodes in the spring of 2014. These nodes are very important to the health of the network. They provide clients with the ability to synchronize and quick propagation of messages throughout the network. We propose adding a secondary network, known as the masternode network. These nodes will have high availability and provide a required level of service to the network in order to take part in the Masternode Reward Program. 2.1 Masternode Reward Program. Cost and payments. Much of the reason for the decrease of full nodes on the Bitcoin network is the lack of incentive to run one. Over time, the cost of running a full node increases as the network gets used more, creating more bandwidth and costing the operator more money. As the cost rises, operators consolidate their services to be cheaper to run on a light client, which does not help the network at all. Masternodes are full nodes, just like in the Bitcoin network, except they must provide a level of service to the network and have a bond of collateral to participate. Collateral is never forfeited and is safe while the masternode is operating. This allows investors to provide a service to the network, earn interest on their investment, and reduce the volatility of the currency. To run a masternode, the node must store 1000 Dash. When active, nodes provide services to clients on the network and in return are paid in the form of a dividend. This allows the users to pay for the services and earn a return on investment. Masternodes are all paid from the same pool of money, approximately 45%. Footnote: of the total block reward is dedicated to this program, due to the fact that the Masternode Rewards program is a fixed percentage and the Masternode network nodes are fluctuating. Expected Masternode rewards will vary according to the current total count of active masternodes. Payments for a standard day for running a masternode can be calculated by using the following formula, where N is the number of masternodes an operator controls is the total number of masternodes or is the current block reward, presently averaging about 5 Dash. B is blocks in an average day. For the Dash network, this usually is 576 A as the average masternode payment, 45% of the average block amount. Return on investment for running a masternode can be calculated as, where variables are the same as above. The cost associated with running a masternode creates a hard and soft limit of active nodes on the network. Currently, with 5.3 million Dash in circulation, only 5,300 nodes could possibly be running on the network. The soft limit is imposed by the price it costs to acquire a node and the limited liquidity on exchanges due to usage of Dash as a currency and not merely an investment. 2.2 Deterministic ordering. A special deterministic algorithm is used to create a pseudo-random ordering of the masternodes, by using the hash from the proof of work for each block. Security of this functionality will be provided by the mining network. Pseudocode. For selecting a masternode. 4. Masternode in masternodes. Current score equals masternode calculate score. If current score, best score equals current score, winning node equals masternode. Right curly bracket. See masternode, calculate score. Pow hash equals get proof of work hash, and block height. Get the hash of this block. Pow hash equals hash. Pow hash the POW hash to increase the entropy. Difference equals abs. Pow hash masternode vin. Return difference. Right curly bracket. The example code can be extended further to provide rankings of masternodes also. A second, third, fourth masternode in the list to be selected. 2.3 Trustless quorums. Currently the Dash network has 2,400 active masternodes. 8. By requiring 1,000 Dash collateral to become an active masternode, we create a system in which no one can control the entire network of masternodes. For example, if someone wants to control 50% of the masternode network, they would have to buy 2,300,000 Dash from the open market. This would raise the price substantially and it would become impossible to acquire the needed Dash. With the addition of the masternode network and the collateral requirements, we can use this secondary network to do highly sensitive tasks in a trustless way, where no single entity can control the outcome. By selecting n pseudo-random masternodes from the total pool to perform the same task, these nodes can act as an oracle, without having the whole network do the task. For an example, implementation of a trustless quorum, see instance end. 9, which uses quorums to approve transactions and lock the inputs or the proof of service implementation. 10. Another example use for trustless quorums can include utilizing the masternode network as a decentralized oracle for financial markets, making secure decentralized contracts a possibility. As an example contract, If Apple stock, AAPL, is over $300 on December 31, 2016, pay public key A, otherwise pay public key B 2.4 rules and proof of service. Masternodes can provide any number of extra services to the network. As a proof of concept, our first implementation included private send and instant send. By utilizing what we call proof of service, we can require that these nodes are online, responding and even at the correct block height. Bad actors could also run masternodes, but not provide any of the quality service that is required of the rest of the network. To reduce the possibility of people using the system to their advantage, nodes must ping the rest of the network to ensure they remain active. This work is done by the masternode network by selecting 2 quorums per block. Quorum A checks the service of quorum B each block. Quorum A are the closest nodes to the current block hash, while quorum B are the furthest nodes from said hash. Masternode A, 1, checks masternode B, rank 2300. Masternode A, 2, checks masternode B, rank 2299. Masternode A, 3, checks masternode B, rank 2298. All work done to check the network to prove that nodes are active is done by the masternode network itself. Approximately 1% of the network will be checked each block. This results in the entire network being checked about 6 times per day. In order to keep this system trustless, we select nodes randomly via the quorum system. Then we also require a minimum of 6 violations in order to deactivate a node. In order to trick this system, an attacker will need to be selected 6 times in a row. Otherwise, violations will be cancelled out by the system as other nodes are selected by the quorum system. Table 1. The probability of tricking the system representing one individual masternode as failing proof of service, where n is the total number of nodes controlled by the attacker, is the total number of masternodes in the network, or is the depth of the chain. The selection of masternodes is pseudo-random based on the quorum system. 2.5 Masternode Protocol. The masternodes are propagated around the network using a series of protocol extensions, including a masternode announce message and masternode ping message. These 2 messages are all that is needed to make a node active on the network. Beyond these, there are other messages for executing a proof of service request. Private send and instant send. Masternodes are originally formed by sending 1000 dash to a specific address in a wallet that will activate the node, making it capable of being propagated across the network. A secondary private key is created that is used for signing all further messages. The latter key allows the wallet to be completely locked when running in a standalone mode. A cold mode is made possible by utilizing the secondary private key on 2 separate machines. The primary hot client signs the 1000 dash input, including the secondary signing private key and the message. Soon after, the cold client sees a message including its secondary key and activates as a masternode. This allows the hot client to be deactivated, client turned off, and leaves no possibility of an attacker gaining access to the 1000 dash by gaining access to the masternode after activation. Upon starting, a masternode sends a masternode announce message to the network, containing message, 1K dash input, reachable IP address, signature, signature time, 1K dash public key, secondary public key, donation public key, donation percentage. Every 15 minutes thereafter, a ping message is sent proving the node is still alive. Message, 1K dash input, signature, using secondary key, signature time, stop. After a time to live has expired, the network will remove an inactive node from the network, causing the node to not be used by clients or paid. Nodes can also ping the network constantly, but if they do not have their ports open, they will eventually be flagged as inactive and not be paid. 2.6 Propagation of the masternode list. New clients entering the Dash network must be made aware of the currently active masternodes on the network to be able to utilize their services. As soon as they join the mesh network, a command is sent to their peers asking for the known list of masternodes. A cache object is used for clients to record masternodes and their current status, so when clients restart they will simply load this file rather than asking for the full list of masternodes. 2.7 Payments via mining and enforcement. To ensure that each masternode is paid its fair share of the block reward, the network must enforce that blocks pay the correct masternode. If a miner is non-compliant, their blocks must be rejected by the network. Otherwise, cheating will be incentivized. We propose a strategy where masternodes form quorums, select a winning masternode and broadcast their message. After n messages have been broadcast to select the same target payee, a consensus will be formed and that block in question will be required to pay that masternode. When mining on the network, pool software, Websites that merge the efforts of individual miners use the RPC API interface to get information about how to make a block. To pay the masternodes, this interface must be extended by adding a secondary payee to get block template. Pools then propagate their successfully mined blocks, with a split payment between themselves and a masternode. 3. Private send. We believe it is important to have a standard trustless implementation for improving the privacy of its users in the reference client that provides a high degree of privacy. Other clients such as Electrum, Android and iPhone will also have the same anonymity layer implemented directly and utilize the protocol extensions. This allows users a common experience anonymizing funds using a well-understood system. Private send is an improved and extended version of the CoinJoin. In addition to the core concept of CoinJoin, we employ a series of improvements such as decentralization, strong anonymity by using a chaining approach, denominations and passive ahead-of-time mixing. The greatest challenge when improving privacy and fungibility of a cryptocurrency is doing it in a way that does not obscure the entire blockchain. In Bitcoin-based cryptocurrencies, one can tell which outputs are unspent and which are not, commonly called UTXO, which stands for Unspent Transaction Output. This results in a public ledger that allows any user to act as guarantor of the integrity of transactions. The Bitcoin protocol is designed to function without the participation of trusted counterparties. In their absence, it is critical that auditing capabilities remain readily accessible to the users through the public blockchain. Our goal is to improve privacy and fungibility without losing these key elements that we believe make a successful currency. By having a decentralized mixing service within the currency, we gain the ability to keep the currency itself perfectly fungible. Fungibility is an attribute of money that dictates that all units of a currency should remain equal. When you receive money within a currency, it should not come with any history from the previous users of the currency, or the users should have an easy way to disassociate themselves from that history, thus keeping all coins equal. At the same time, any user should be able to act as an auditor to guarantee the financial integrity of the public ledger without compromising others' privacy. To improve the fungibility and keep the integrity of the public blockchain, we propose using an ahead-of-time decentralized trustless mixing strategy to be effective at keeping the currency fungible. This service is directly built into the currency, easy to use and safe for the average user. 3.1 Tracing CoinJoin by amounts. A common strategy in existing Bitcoin implementations of CoinJoin is simply merging transactions together. This exposes the users to various methods of following the user's coins through these joint transactions. Figure 2. An example CoinJoin transaction with 2 users, 11, 12. In this transaction, 0.05 BTC was sent through the mixer. To identify the source of the money, one simply has to add up the values on the right until they match one of the values on the left. Breaking apart the transaction, 0.05 plus 0.0499 plus 0.0001, fee, equals 0.10 BTC, 0.0499 plus 0.059401A2 plus 0.0001, fee, equals 0.109401A2 BTC. This gets exponentially more difficult as more users are added to the mixer. However, these sessions can be retroactively de-anonymized at any point in the future. 3.2 Through linking and forward linking. In other proposed implementations of CoinJoin, it is possible that a user anonymizes money then eventually sends change from that transaction to an exchange or other entity that knows the user's identity. This breaks the anonymity and allows the entity to walk backwards through that user's transactions. We call this type of attack forward linking. Figure 3. Forward change linking. In this example, Alice anonymizes 1.2 BTC, which goes to 2 outputs, 1 BTC and 0.2 BTC. She then spends 0.7 BTC from the 1 BTC output, receiving change of 0.3 BTC. That 0.3 BTC then goes to an identifiable source, confirming Alice also spent the 0.7 BTC in the prior transaction. To identify the sender of the anonymous transaction, start at the exchange transaction and go backwards in the blockchain till you get to the Alice sent 0.7 BTC anonymously. As the exchange, you know it was your user who just recently bought something anonymously, thus breaking the anonymity completely. We call this type of attack through change linking. Figure 4. Through change linking. In the second example, Alice buys 1.2 BTC from Coinbase, then anonymizes this amount into a 1 BTC output. She then spends the 1 BTC, receives change in the amount of 0.3 BTC and then combines that with her 0.2 BTC earlier change. By combining the change from the anonymous transaction, 0.3 BTC, and the change she received from the CoinJoin transaction, you can link the entire history before and after, completely breaking the anonymity. 3.3 Improved privacy and denial of service. DOS resistance. Private send uses the fact that a transaction can be formed by multiple parties and made out to multiple parties to merge funds together in a way where they cannot be uncoupled thereafter. Given that all private send transactions are set up for users to pay themselves, the system is highly secure against theft and users' coins always remain safe. Currently, to mix UC private send requires at least 3 participants. Figure 5. 3 users submit denominated funds into a common transaction. Users pay themselves back in the form of new outputs, which are randomly ordered. To improve the privacy of the system as a whole, we propose using common denominations of 0.1-, 1-, 10-, and 100-. In each mixing session, all users should submit the same denominations as inputs and outputs. In addition to denominations, fees should be removed from the transactions and charged in bulk in separate, sporadic unlinkable transactions. To address the possible DOS attacks, we propose all users submit a transaction as collateral to the pool when joining. This transaction will be made out to themselves and will pay a high fee to miners. In the case when a user submits a request to the mixing pool, they must provide collateral at the beginning of this exchange. If at any point any user fails to cooperate, by refusing to sign for example, the collateral transaction will automatically be broadcasted. This will make it expensive to do a sustained attack on the privacy network. 3.4 Passive anonymization of funds and chaining. Private send is limited to 1,000 per session and requires multiple sessions to thoroughly anonymize significant amounts of money. To make the user experience easy and make timing attacks very difficult, private send runs in a passive mode. At set intervals, a user's client will request to join with other clients via a masternode. Upon entry into the masternode, a queue object is propagated throughout the network detailing the denominations the user is looking to anonymize, but no information that can be used to identify the user. Each private send session can be thought of as an independent event increasing the anonymity of users' funds. However, each session is limited to 3 clients, so an observer has a 1 in 3 chance of being able to follow a transaction. To increase the quality of anonymity provided, a chaining approach is employed, which funds are sent through multiple masternodes, one after another. Table 2. How many users could possibly be involved in ANN mixing sessions? 3.5 Security considerations. As transactions are merged, masternodes can possibly snoop on users' funds as they pass through. This is not considered a serious limitation due to the requirement for masternodes to hold 1,000- and the fact that users utilize random masternodes that they select to host their joins. The probability of following a transaction throughout a chaining event can be calculated as follows. Table 3. The probability of follow a private send transaction on the network given the attacker controls N nodes, where N is the total number of nodes controlled by the attacker, is the total number of masternodes in the network, or is the depth of the chain. The selection of masternodes is random, considering the limited supply of 5.3 million at the time of writing, April 2015, and the low liquidity available on the market. It becomes an impossibility to attain a large enough number of masternodes to succeed at such an attack. Extending the system by blinding masternodes to the transactions taking place on their node will also greatly enhance the security of the system. 3.6 Masternode blinding via relay system. In section 3.4 we describe the probabilities of following a single transaction through multiple sessions of private send mixing. This can further be addressed by blinding masternodes, so they cannot see which outputs belong to which users. To do this, we propose a simple relay system that users can use to protect their identity. Instead of a user submitting the inputs and outputs directly into the pool, they will pick a random masternode from the network and request that it relays the inputs-outputs signatures to the target masternode. This means that the masternode will receive n sets of inputs-outputs and n sets of signatures. Each set belongs to one of the users, but the masternode can't know which belongs to which. For instant transactions via instant send, by utilizing masternode quorums, users are able to send and receive instant irreversible transactions. Once a quorum has been formed, the inputs of the transaction are locked to only be spendable in a specific transaction. A transaction lock takes about 4 seconds to be set currently on the network. If consensus is reached on a lock by the masternode network, All conflicting transactions or conflicting blocks would be rejected thereafter, unless they match the exact transaction ID of the lock in place. This will allow vendors to use mobile devices in place of traditional POS systems for real-world commerce and users to quickly settle face-to-face non-commercial transactions as with traditional cash. This is done without a central authority. An extensive overview of this feature can be found in the Instant Send white paper. 9. 5 additional improvements. 5.1 X11 hashing algorithm. X11 is a widely used hashing algorithm, which takes a different approach. Known as algorithm chaining, X11 consists of all 11 SHA-3 contestants. 13. Each hash is calculated and submitted to the next algorithm in the chain. By utilizing multiple algorithms, the likelihood that an ASIC is created for the currency is minimal until a later part of its life cycle. In the life cycle of Bitcoin, mining began with hobbyists which used central processing units, CPUs, to mine the currency. Then shortly after, graphics processing units, GPUs, software was created, which quickly replaced the CPUs. Years after the GPU cycle, ASICs or application-specific integrated circuits were created, which quickly replaced the GPUs. Due to the complexity and die size required to create an ASIC for mining X11, we expect that it will take considerably longer than it did in Bitcoin, allowing for hobbyists to take part in the mining for a longer period of time. We believe this is highly important for good distribution and growth of a cryptocurrency. Another benefit of the chaining hashing approach is high-end CPUs give an average return similar to that of GPUs. Also, GPUs have been reported to run 30–50% cooler, with less wattage than the script algorithm used by most current cryptocurrencies. 5.2 Mining supply. A different approach to restricting the inflation of mining is taken in Dash, using a 7% reduction of the supply per year. This is done as opposed to having implemented by other currencies. In addition, supply each block is directly tied to the amount of miners on the network. More miners result in lower mining rewards. Production of Dash is scheduled to carry on throughout this century and on to the next, slowly grinding down until finally near the year 2150, production will cease. Figure 6. Mining reward schedule. 6. Conclusion. This paper introduces various concepts to improve the design of Bitcoin, resulting in improved privacy and fungibility for the average user, less price volatility and quicker message propagation throughout the network. This is all accomplished by utilizing an incentivized two-tier model, rather than the existing single-tier model in other cryptocurrencies such as Bitcoin. By utilizing this alternative network design, it becomes possible to add many types of services such as decentralized mixing of coins, instant transactions, and decentralized oracles using masternode quorums. References. A peer-to-peer electronic cash system. 2008. http://eprints.quick.edu/69169/1/boy unaccepted draft PDF. http://www.cryptocoinsnews.com/3-solutions-instant-bitcoin-confirmations/http://research.microsoft.com/pubs/15607/2/bitcoin.pdf http://www.cs.ucl.ac.uk staff Michael files IMC13 PDF https://jedit.bitnodes.io/nodes/incentive/ https://zapchain-magazine/y-darn-t-people-ron-bitcoin-nodes-anymore-d4da0b45aae5 https://ninja.pl/https://www.dash.org wp content-upload/2014/09/instant-tx-pdf https://jithub.com/dash/pay/glub/master/masternode-pos.cpp https:// blockchain.info tx/4f3b2f957b8fb727e657e652f3e57e6d603 https://blockchain.info tx/1694122b34c8543d01 at 422 sus600d59f8d8fde495ac90dd839 http://en.wikipedia.org wiki NIST hash function competition finalists http://www.tek.ee.ca/file/49318d3f567d52588ABF7FD-A78235AB7P2P2013_041.pdf